2015. This interview with Raymond Start of Granville, Michigan is being conducted by Deb Moore of the Grand Valley State University Veterans History Project. Well, thanks for talking to me today, Ray. Tell me a little bit about your early life and background. Did you grow up in Grand Rapids, or?
Yes, it was called Galewood. It's a suburb of Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
Family of 5 boys and 1 girl.
Okay.
I was the middler. And went to school regularly until I got to be 16 and got real tired of it.
Where'd you go to school?
So, Grand Rapids Christian.
Grand Rapids Christian, okay. And what year were you born?
1927.
Okay, okay. And tell me your parents' names.
Dick and Alice Start.
Okay, okay. And so, any early memories of growing up in Galewood?
A lot of fun. We lived right within 5 minutes of the nice woods.
Uh-huh.
We spent a lot of time there.
Oh, that's fun. There was a lot of kids in the neighborhood.
A lot of kids, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Everybody had a big family.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
And so you went there for elementary school.
And
Great.
I went through the first half of the 11th.
Okay, then
and
what?
I decided I had enough.
Okay, you just didn't like school,
I
or?
did not like school.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for a year, drove for a delivery for a furrier in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Then on my 17th birthday, I went down and joined the Navy. Had to get at those Japs, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What year was that? When was your
1944.
Okay, 1944.
Yeah.
So the war had been going on.
It was going at its hottest. They were just really making gains in Europe then.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get in there. I wanted to be a gunner. But God had different plans for me.
Okay.
I passed a test that made me qualified to be a radio man.
Okay.
So they sent me to the University of Wisconsin radio school for 5 months. And that was probably the thick of the war. So by the time I got in, I still got it on the tail of it.
Uh-huh.
I got on a troop ship in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 days later, we anchored in Leyte in the Philippine Islands.
Uh-huh.
And I was assigned an attack personnel destroyer.
Okay.
They handled what's today called SEALs. We had a frogman team with 4 Higgins boats, landing boats, and their job was to dynamite the coral reefs so that these big LST landing tank crafts could go to shore. And they were amassing the 3rd Fleet for the invasion of the island of Japan.
Okay.
So we steamed toward Japan, got past Okinawa, they dropped the A-bomb.
Oh.
So it was all over.
Yeah.
We got back to the States, and I spent about 3 months in San Diego in a transfer station,
Okay.
and then they assigned me to a carrier.
Uh-huh.
And our job was to go out and bring in surplus planes and officers that had their points for discharge.
Okay.
And we had a ball when we went out, because we went out empty. We played basketball on the hangar deck. We even tried softball on the flight deck. It worked until we lost the balls overboard, you know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They even had a hunt and gun club, which I joined, had 45s. We took pot shots at the flying fish. And we ended up in Harbor Island in Tacoma, Washington, to put the ship in the mothball fleet.
Okay.
We did that for 6 months until I got discharged in July.
Okay.
And that was really a great experience. I got to ski at Mount Rainier twice.
Wow.
And met a lot of nice young girls, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a good buddy. He was a good Baptist, and we had good morals. We went roller skating. That's where all the nice young ones were, you know. Got invited to their homes, you know, and just had a good experience in the Navy. Yeah.
Wow. So that was so you enlisted for 2 years.
It was not quite. I got out in July of 46.
Okay.
22 months.
Okay, 22 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. Let's go back to the beginning. So you went to enlist for the Navy. Where did you go to do that?
That was at Reed's Lake at that time. They had a naval Station there. And that's where I enlisted.
Okay. And tell me again, what was it that appealed to you about the Navy?
My oldest brother had been in for 2 years already. I wanted to be with Hank.
Okay. So your family followed the war closely.
My dad served in the Army in World War I. Hank and I served in the Navy in World War II. Another brother, two other brothers served in Korea, and my son in Vietnam. So we're quite a patriotic family.
Yeah, I guess you are.
Yeah.
So you went over to Reed's Lake. You said, I want to join the Navy. Did they give you any kind of a test or a physical or?
No, we had to go to Detroit for that. Yeah.
Okay, so they put you on a bus to Detroit. You said goodbye to your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that a sad day?
Well, at that time I was too eager, you know.
Yeah.
When the first night over in Great Lakes, when a huge gymnasium, you know, we had to sleep there. Everything was strange. I'd never been out of Grand Rapids.
Yeah, right.
So it was kind of.
You're going to see the world. It was an adventure.
It was, but there were good buddies in boot camp, and then of course I got sent to radio school at the University of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We were coddled there. I mean, we had 2 guys to a room. We had women cooks, 3 good meals a day, right in between 2 lakes, and it was in the wintertime, so we could go skiing, ice skating, and it had what they call the Union Hall. That's where all the students would meet on certain days, and we'd go there and meet the girls.
So,
just a nice time.
so you took the test and it said that you would be good as a radio man.
Yeah.
Did you know you had that aptitude?
No.
No. Okay. And so, what did they teach you? Or at
The Morse code.
The Morse code. Okay.
Yeah. Our job, boardship and everything, was to. Fortunately, I'd taken 2 semesters of typing in high school, so I didn't have to pass the type. I passed the typing test, so
good.
I had free time while they were learning to type. That was good. And so that was our job then, to learn the code.
Okay.
And we sat there at a typewriter board ship,
Okay.
earphones on, listening to Morse code, and we had to type that. 4 hours on, 8 hours off.
Wow.
But of course, we didn't have to swab the decks or, you know, do
Right.
deck duties, so that
Yeah.
was a good part of it.
Yeah. So did you take to it pretty quickly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And so, how long would you say you were at the University of Wisconsin?
That was 5 months.
5 months. Okay. And then tell me again then where they sent you from there.
Excuse me.
Yes, you go ahead.
There we went direct to San Francisco.
How'd you get there?
Choo-choo train, big old smoke belling thing. Went through the desert. We had to open the windows because it was stifling hot. Got there and our hair was full of soot. Our white stripes and our jumpers were black. It was a mess.
Oh, boy.
And then getting to San Francisco from L.A., we took a streamliner, air conditioned. Talk about difference.
That's great.
Yeah, we had
That's great.
some. And then we, of course, we went at Treasure Island was a hop-off base. Got on that ship and went under the Golden Gate Bridge and out for 30 days. There.
Wow. What was the name of that ship?
General U.S. Muir, M-U-I-R.
Okay. And how many guys were on that ship?
3,000.
Whoa. Tell me about the sleeping quarters on the ship.
There were 3 high bunks that folded back just a canvas. And when we got out to the tropics, it was quite hot.
Yeah.
They let whoever wanted to could put our hammocks out on the deck. That was one of them. I liked that. That was nice.
Yeah. How did all the guys get along?
Pretty good, except they had Marine guards. And some of those guys didn't get along good with them. They called them knee-deep sailors.
So
There was some enmity there between the guards and the guys.
yeah.
But they got back at them. The guys, I was alerted that at 5 o'clock they came around to wash the decks. And we were in our hammocks. I made sure I was out of my hammocks. The guys that stayed, they turned the big hoses on them, flipped them out.
How did you react to military discipline, Ray?
No problem. My dad was stern, but he was fair. Yeah. Never gave them trouble. Never gave my parents trouble. That's
Okay.
5 boys.
Yeah. So it really wasn't that big of an adjustment for you.
No, coming from a big family, how
Yeah.
would you know?
Yeah. Um, so, um, so what was your rank then?
When I graduated from radio school, there were too many rated radio men already. So I was classified as a seaman first class, in parentheses RM, radio man.
Okay.
But that little classification saved me from deck force.
Oh,
I
what's
was
deck?
a qualified radio man, in other words. See, I served all the watches and everything, but they didn't have enough ratings to give me a 3rd class anymore.
Okay, and what's deck? What did you say? Deck force?
Deck force.
What does that mean?
Guys that were responsible for keeping the ship clean. Every morning the bosun would pipe a sea pipe, you know. Now hear this. Hit the deck, everybody. Sweepers, man your brooms. Empty all butt kits and spit cans. And they had to report to the bosun for further orders.
Okay. But you didn't have. You got out of that.
I just served my 4 on 8 off radio watch.
Wow. So it took you 30 days, you said, to get to your destination.
2 meals a day aboard that ship.
2 meals.
But I got acquainted with the ship's cook, and I said, "Is there anything I can do here so I can get a little more food?" Yeah, you can run this dishwasher, and it was automatic. You know, you just fill the tray, shoved it through, and it was so hot. You know, we just poured sweat all the time. I got to eat pretty good.
Good for you. So what time were the 2 meals served then?
Well, usually about 9 in the morning, maybe 5 at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think? Why was that 2 meals instead of 3 meals?
Well, we weren't that busy, and there wasn't anything to do aboard ship, so
Okay.
they figured, hey, why waste good food? Guys went around hungry all the time, though.
Okay. So once you left your house, Ray, and went to Detroit, did you get to go home before you went overseas, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I finally left on a train from Kalamazoo to go to Great Lakes.
Okay. How long were you on home for leave before you left?
Probably a week.
Probably a week.
Yeah.
Okay. You said goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
Did you have a girlfriend?
Yes, I did.
Oh, who was that?
Her name was Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And she was from Granville.
Okay. And so you said goodbye to her.
Yeah.
Okay, and everybody. And so, I'm sorry, then the 30 days in what was your destination?
Philippines.
The Philippines. Okay, so tell me about what it was like when you landed in the Philippines.
Well, we never landed. We got transferred off that troop ship right to that APD, and then away we went.
APD means what?
Attack Personnel Destroyer.
Is that the one that was wrecking the coral reefs?
Yes.
Okay, and tell me how that works. You'll put down some.
We anchor off ashore, and I never got into the action part of it because the war was over, you know. But it got just so far that anchor, and they lower these landing boats, call them Higgins boats. We had 4 of them.
Okay.
We had a underwater demolition team of, we called them frogmen then, and there were 84 of them. So they got 4 boats, and they went ashore with dynamite. And underwater, they would dynamite these coral reefs so that the landing ships with the tanks and stuff could get in closer to shore.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, but you're on the AP.
I'm on the APD. I'm a radio man. I'm the ship's crew.
Right.
So beside those 84, we had 100 and some crew. It was the crowded little
So
ship.
they were big, yeah. And so, were there messages to relay while the frogmen were doing their work?
Yeah, we had, everything was coded, so we didn't know anything what messages were.
Oh.
Our communication officer had to decode it, see.
Oh.
We never knew what was going on.
Oh, okay.
Just copy your code.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you enjoy doing your job?
It got kind of boring. You know, you sit there that long.
Yeah.
I can show you a picture in my logbook of me sitting at the typewriter. I look kind of sleepy.
Oh, I'll see that later. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And so, how long do you think you were doing this APD destroyer work before the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima?
Yeah, when did they drop that?
Was it in
I think
August?
it was either. No, that's when they signed the surrender.
Okay.
So it was just before that then.
Okay.
Probably July.
Right. So, what I'm saying, was it a couple months you were doing that, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all the time sailing toward Japan.
Okay.
And
Making
of
your
course,
way.
we turned around and came back.
Okay. But you'd sleep on the APD.
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And then but your ship, the Muir, where was that?
They probably headed back to the States.
Oh, everybody
It
got
was just
off
a
it.
passenger ship.
Just a passenger ship. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. And so do you remember when you got the news that the treaty had been signed in Japan?
Yes.
Tell me about that day.
We were back in Oceanside, California.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd given a third of the ship liberty. So those guys were celebrating. I'm sure we were stuck aboard.
Okay.
So the guys broke into the pyrotechnics locker and shot off all the rockets and stuff. Got out the spams, the rations, you know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Any alcohol involved?
No.
No.
Well, nothing aboard ship. No.
No. No.
The only time you got to drink was when you hit an island out in the Pacific, and they called it Beer Can Island. They got out the cans of 3.2 beer.
Okay.
So nobody ever got real drunk.
Right.
And I didn't drink. I never drank at that time.
Uh-huh.
Still though. Never have.
Did you smoke?
No.
No.
Never smoked.
Okay. Okay. So, when you said the third of the ship got liberty, did you get any liberty?
No, then they reassigned me.
Oh.
They took the crew off, put us all in this distribution center in San Diego.
Okay.
From there on, one at a time, we got assigned different ships.
Okay. Okay. And you said you were on a ship that went up to Tacoma, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And tell me about that experience. What did you do there?
Well, because I didn't have my rate, they assigned anybody that didn't have a rate to the deck force. So I got to work for this bosun that I didn't like, you know.
Oh.
I kind of got back to him. The recreation officer was a real neat guy, and he was looking for people to go skiing, you know. And I was assigned extra duty because I guess I'd mouthed off at the bosun, you know. He says, "You can't go. You got duty." So I talked to the rec officer. He says, "Don't worry." So he got me exonerated. I went skiing that day.
Uh-huh.
And then they went the next day too. And he said, "I'm short another person for that. Can you go?" And I said, "Well, ask the bosun." He said, "Hey, you're giving this guy all this good fun, you know, he's supposed to be working for me." So I went 2 days in a row to Mount Rainier. Except on the second day, I went down too fast and I hit a little module, you know, sprained my right ankle and my left shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was limping around, you know, but that got me light duty, so I didn't have to work for the bosun for 3 weeks.
Did they bring you back to the ship to go to see the doctor, or where did?
The ship's pharmacist mate looked at it. He said, "You got a bad sprain. You know, it'll get better."
Okay.
And it did.
And had you skied before you went to Mount Rainier?
Yeah, but just down little hills, you know, and
Yeah.
not with all those trappings. See, when you're strapped in there, you can't get your foot loose. We're used to just kicking the ski off if you're gonna fall.
Right.
So that twisted my ankle real good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, that sounds like fun. I didn't know that ships had rec officers.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I told you the gun club. And
Yeah.
we shot 45s, you know.
So these were kind of all his ideas,
Yeah.
or maybe the
He supplied all the balls and things, you know.
And so was he an older guy, or why do you think he got
older,
that?
I probably thought he was older at the time, but I bet he wasn't over 40.
Yeah. 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 And so besides the skiing, you said then he got some kind of a little gun competition, shooting competition going.
And going out, we played volleyball on the forward elevator. It was that big. And we played basketball on the hangar deck. And like I said, softball on the flight deck while the balls lasted. 3 dozen balls didn't last very long. Over the side was out, of course.
Yeah. Oh, sounds like fun.
Really, it was. That was the best part of my life. I didn't like school. Well, when I got back, you want to take it from there?
Sure.
Okay, I went right back to school and finished high school.
Did you?
And the Navy gave me enough credit for sea duty and service. I finished it all in five subjects, 1 semester. So I skipped a whole year of high school.
Fabulous.
Got my diploma.
And that was at Galewood Christian High School?
Grand Rapids Christian High.
Grand Rapids Christian High School.
Yeah.
And so you graduated in?
1947.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. Yeah. Did you use the GI Bill anymore after that?
Yes, I took flight training.
Oh, tell me about...
fly.
Did you really? Tell me, where'd you do that?
Well, DeVos and Venano, the Amway boys, had started a little air service called Wolverine Air Service right next to the river in Comstock Park.
Okay.
And I took flight training there. Got all my flight hours in and decided, hey, I can't afford this in public. It would have been too expensive. And I was getting married that fall, so.
So you took that up as a hobby, or you wanted to?
I wanted to learn to fly, and it was fun, those small planes,
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, go up 7,000 feet, cut the engine and coast all the way back. Yeah.
That was fun.
Fly out over to Lake Michigan,
Yeah.
just beautiful.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So after that, then, what did you do? You got married, you said.
Yes.
You married?
Mary Grotenhar, it was her name.
Okay. So she was somebody you met when you came back?
Yes, we used to roller skate at Ramona Gardens at Reeds Lake. Mm-hmm. That's where I met her.
Okay. After you came back?
Yes.
Okay, good. And so you got married, and then you got a job, or you went to
I went to work right away.
Uh-huh. Doing what?
See, I started driving for Nabisco, delivering crackers.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you didn't use the GI Bill to go to any college?
No. I had enough of school.
Right.
I did okay. I got all B's except one in government. Didn't get along with the teacher too good. I was older, and he kind of liked the girls that kind of fawned on him and that, He was an old guy, so
Yeah.
he was kind of silly.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
But that wasn't that unusual for an older guy to come back from the service and finish high school.
No, I was 19.
Yeah.
And the girls were 16. I met a lot of nice young girls. In fact, one turned out, later on, she married my brother-in-law. And we still see each other now.
That's crazy.
Now she's a widow.
Uh-huh.
And this other widow that lives in Holland, we get together usually once a month, us 3.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You just were able to come home to Grand Rapids and visit your family before you shipped overseas. Other than that, then you didn't see them till the end of the war?
That's right.
Okay. Just tell me a little bit more, again, about your last time, what you were doing up in the Pacific Northwest with...
In Tacoma there?
Yeah. What exactly was that again?
We had good liberty.
Okay.
And we could go around the town, and this buddy and I would look up the local roller skating rinks.
Oh, yeah.
It was hard to kind of get around. We had to rely on the bus,
Yeah.
And one night we missed the last bus going back, and we hitchhiked.
Uh-huh.
Along come this Hudson coupe with 2 guys in it. They stopped and said, "Can you take us back to our ship?" Yeah, hop in. So we got in the back. It was a club coupe, no 4 doors, 2 doors. So we were trapped. These guys were drunk. The driver got to going about 20 or 30 miles an hour. Guy next, "You're going too fast," and you'd switch off the ignition. So we stopped, The other guy started again. It went that way all the back. They got us back somehow.
Did you have to sneak in, or you made it in time?
No, we made it in time.
Now, would you have had your uniform on?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to.
You had to have your uniform on.
Yeah.
So you didn't really have any civilian clothes.
Later on, I also was a Jeep driver for the carrier, and so that was an officer's taxi. So I got to go into Seattle to take them in there, and while they were doing what they had to do, I could walk around the town. I picked up a shirt and the pants, and while I was there, I wore it. Went to the YMCA, changed my clothes, and just it was fun just walking around town. Because they didn't look too good at sailors in because they had too many of them.
Okay.
So that was kind of fun.
Okay.
And I'd take them to the golf course on Sunday morning, And,
Well, sounds like you had a pretty cushy up there.
well, that's because I had that delivery job in Grand Rapids. I had a chauffeur's license, see? And then you had to have that to drive the Jeep.
Isn't it funny how things work out?
Yeah.
That's great. So, how would you describe the morale in your unit?
Good. Especially our radio gang. You have a radio gang, and there was probably, I think there were 8 of us on that carrier. Yeah, we good.
All got along good.
Except a couple of them were rioters. They got drunk one time in town. They came back and their knuckles are all bleedy. I said, boy, you must have had some fight. Yeah, you should see the other guy. Found out later it was somebody got a paper, local paper. Sailors from the USS Bougainville caught destroying telephone booth. In those booths they had glass with wire inside.
Yeah.
And they tried smashing that, and that's how they got so cut up.
Now, would they have gotten in trouble with the Navy for that?
Well, yeah, they got extra duty for that for a long time.
Okay.
But it was up to the ship's authorities to handle it. See? They settled it with the local authorities, paid the damages.
Yeah. Any other instances of any misdoings on board where somebody would got thrown in the brig?
On board, I never heard of one incident.
Was there a brig with like a little?
They always had a little brig. Yeah, we had a barber shop. We even had an ice cream machine. So aboard that carrier was totally different from the APD.
Yeah. Because APD, you didn't have any frills.
Terrible.
Yeah.
The meals were horrible. One time we got some chicken, and somebody found the carton that came in. It was about 2 years old. It had been frozen. It was just like rubber. And we found maggots in the mashed potatoes. We were so hungry we ate them anyway. We figured we got protein that way.
Oh, right.
They were cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to get on that carrier.
You were happy then. Did you write home a lot? Did you get a lot of letters?
Got lots of letters.
From parents?
Parents, girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Of
Virginia
course,
was still your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Except when you're out 2 months to sea, it comes all at once. So you get a great big pile of mail like that, and you stash them according to the date on them, the postmark, and then start. It's quite interesting.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What did you do with your letters? Did you save them or?
Well, we had V-mail back then, those little thin things, and we'd send them to the ship that delivered the mail. They picked up the mail too and saw it was mailed. Yeah.
And that was to save paper? What was?
Yeah, very lightweight, say, for postage. And of course ours was free. We wrote free on it. We didn't have to pay postage.
Yeah. Nice. So you got to see some of the world.
I never would have seen it otherwise.
Yeah. Anything in particular that strikes you? Let's start with the Philippines. What was your impressions of that country?
It was terrible. The Japs had bombed the middle of it just to the ground. There wasn't one structure over a story high.
Wow.
They had Japanese prisoners there too. So.
Did they?
Yeah.
And you saw them?
Stones at them.
Oh.
They hated those Japs.
Yeah. And what kind of an enclosure would they be in?
Just
kind
a
of
wire fence.
wire fence.
Yeah, they had guards, that just willing to shoot them if they tried anything.
And that would have been the Army that was,
Jap Army, yeah,
uh-huh.
invasion.
right, but the U.S. Army was the
Army.
ones that, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you saw the prisoners, the whole place was bombed out, so there was
Yeah.
nothing to,
Pretty sad.
yeah,
A lot of ships up in and in the harbor sunk,
wow. Yeah, yeah. And what about the other islands where you were destroying the coral
Well,
reefs?
I remember anchoring off Ulithi one time, just a little island there, and we had, that was on an APD, I think, because I had diving masks that the guy loaned me and flippers, and we went out, and these coral reefs were so beautiful, these tropical fish, were just like you see in an aquarium.
Yeah.
That was nice, and then we stopped at, not Guadalcanal. What's the big island that we own?
Guam?
Guam, of course.
Okay.
And that was a B-29 base at the time.
Okay.
So we saw a lot of those big bombers there, and they had a USO there. We got little entertainment.
Okay, tell me about that. Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah.
They did have free beer.
Okay.
And the girls, you could dance with them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Where do you think the girls came from? Guam?
Yeah.
Okay.
We owned it, so there were a lot of U.S. residents there.
Okay. And how many people could it seat in a USO club?
Well, it's
Hundreds?
Pretty large, probably 100.
Okay.
They bring in bands from the States, Yeah.
Well, that was fun. That was fun. Any other? So then you said you did get to see a lot of Tacoma, go in town there. Did you see a lot of California when you were there?
Around San Diego, went to the big Balboa Zoo. That was the big thing there. Not much else.
Okay.
Down there.
Okay.
More or less stayed on the base.
So it seems like you saw quite a bit.
Oh, one incident, I got tonsillitis when I was down there.
Uh-oh.
So they sent me to Balboa Hospital to have them extracted. So they lined us up in the hall. There were two other guys, squirted a little antiseptic or whatever on there to dull them. And they examined us, and there were two officers, and one looked at them and said, okay. And they looked at mine and says, hey, they're too swollen. Guy's gonna bleed. Another guy says, we gotta get him back to duty. So they had this little noose with a piano wire on it, and open up. One splash in the pan, and the other splash in the pan. And it didn't hurt at the time.
Because they'd sprayed this anesthetic in your mouth.
Yeah, and that little wire noose probably did a good job, But I got back to the barracks and went to sleep at night, and I gave a big swallow, and blood just skirted out of my mouth. It rushed me to emergency. If I hadn't been good at coagulating, I would have bled to death.
Well, sure.
And I lost 15 pounds, and that was when I only weighed 145. The only thing good about it, I got to stay an extra 5 days,
Yeah.
But I couldn't eat. I just had ice cream and milk, and I couldn't swallow for a week. That was not a good experience.
Well, that doesn't sound like any kind of operation I've ever heard of.
But I'm surprised they don't do that today. I mean, that was so quick. These other guys, they were eating in 2 days.
Okay, so they must have had the expectation that where they had cut them off was going to just
That one
close up and heal.
did. See, but
Yeah.
the other was, no, we got to get him back to duty. See, no heart.
Oh boy! So besides the tonsillitis and the sprained ankle and hurt shoulder, any other injuries or health problems while you were gone?
No, I was healthy all the time.
Okay.
Praise the Lord. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. So tell me now about. Oh, was there any special music? Was there music on the?
Almost forgot. Well, I was at Balboa Hospital. Bob Hope came with his troop.
Really?
Jerry Colonna. Forget who his singer was at that time. Very popular singer.
Uh-huh.
And who's the guy that played Tarzan?
Johnny Weissmuller?
No, this guy took over from him, but he was
Oh.
a singer too. But
Oh, I don't think I know.
his whole troop was there. He put on an act for us.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. That was
It
fun.
good. Mhm.
That was fun. So tell me now then, you said you were discharged in July of 46. Okay. Was it a momentous day or how did that day go? You knew it was coming
Well,
up?
the discharge, I was sent to be discharged at Great Lakes again. So I had to take a train, a troop sleeper train, from Washington.
To Detroit.
No, to Great Lakes,
Where is Great Lakes?
Illinois.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chicago, outside of Chicago. That's where I had boot camp,
Okay.
and that was 3 days through the mountains and stuff. So it was pretty nice, but the troop sleeper was not that comfortable. There was bunks 3 high, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you were used to that though.
yeah. Anything to get home.
Uh-huh. And so you were, what, did they just do some formalities
Yeah,
of
you
paperwork?
signed a couple papers and hopped the Greyhound bus and went home. Had
Okay.
to stand all the way because it was crowded.
Really? Really? But people kept dropping off along the way?
Yeah, I finally got a seat halfway.
Yeah. Did you have to pay for that?
No.
No.
At least we were still getting free rides.
They paid for that. Okay, good. I don't think we ever did talk about boot camp. Was that 6 weeks or how long did that last?
8 weeks
8
at
weeks.
that time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What are your memories of boot camp?
I enjoyed it because I was in top shape. I'd been working out with weights and everything, 17 years old. At that time, they were drafting 35-year-old guys. So we had a mixture, half and half.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for those guys. They were married, a couple of them had kids, they were out of shape. But us young guys, we had a ball,
Yeah.
Obstacle course, that was nothing.
Yeah.
We loved the marching, the rhythm and everything. It was no problem.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any mean drill sergeant or?
No, one of the guys who had ROTC in high school was our troop leader, old Red McGavick. He was a neat guy too,
Uh-huh.
Funny.
Oh, so you had been in ROTC?
I hadn't.
Oh, you had.
He was our leader, see. So
Okay.
he taught us how to march. We drilled every day,
Yeah, yeah. And how to load and unload a gun, or don't you do that in the Navy now?
We did have firing range practice.
Okay.
And I had a 22 when I was young, so it was good.
Good. Did anybody wash out? Does anybody?
No, none
No?
in our company.
Okay. Great. Great. So what do you think the lasting effects of the war were on you?
Gave me a real appreciation for home. Haven't left it since, except on trips.
Uh-huh.
My wife and I have been all around because of our kids. I told you our youngest daughter has 7 children.
Oh no. Wow.
Yeah, when the first one was about, I think, a year and a half old, they took us to Bermuda. We've been all over here, the homestead in Virginia.
Yes.
Been there 3 times, twice at Christmas. Been to, Cayman Island,
Oh yeah.
California. They just took me to Disney World last month.
Wonderful.
I mean, they haul me all over. So we've been blessed.
That's
Just
great.
Too bad my wife can't enjoy the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah. How many children did you and Mary have?
We had 4.
Okay. Okay. What are their names?
Doug is the oldest, and Jan, and then Rick, and then Lisa.
Lisa. And so how many grandchildren altogether?
We have 15 grandchildren,
Wow.
16 great-grandchildren.
Great. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
We're blessed.
So you think that what difference do you think the military made on maybe your maturation or your development?
It made me more mature.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was, just a small-town kid, very naive. Didn't like school, didn't make friends easy, because, I don't know.
Do you think it instilled confidence in you?
Yes, oh yes, sure. Yeah, I always got good buddies, you know, radio school, my bunkmate was a great guy. Shipboard, always had good shipmates, yeah. It was a good experience for me at the time.
Yeah, yeah, great. Now then, did you join any veterans groups or
Nope.
never did any of
cared.
that?
No,
Okay.
done with it.
Done with it, okay.
Some of my buddies joined the reserve.
Uh-huh.
They got called up for Korea. One guy had a ship sunk from under him.
Oh, but he survived?
He survived.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
No, I was married too at the time when they wanted more recruits, you know. I just said thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You did it.
I did it. Yeah.
You did it. And now you're looking forward to the trip to Washington, D.C. on
Yes.
Saturday with the honor flight.
Yes.
Yeah. And tell me again for the camera who your companion will be.
My son, Michael Start.
Okay. Okay. And you leave at 5:30 in the morning, I heard.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be a full day.
Big day.
I'm surprised they're having that party on Friday night before you leave.
Well, it's from 4:30 to 7:30,
Okay.
so we can get to bed on time.
That's good.
And they planned it, I'm sure, for
That's
us
good.
oldies.
So your son Michael will attend, and then your grandson?
No, our grandson is Michael. He's going with me to TC.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And my son, the Vietnam vet, he's going to be our guest. He's going with us to the party.
Oh, good. Good. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Great. And now, will you wear anything? Do you have any hats or any jackets or any of that?
My mom said, I've had enough of war. She dumped it all.
Did she dump all?
Never saw my uniform again.
Okay. I bet. What was her reaction when you got home?
She was glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of one of her favorites. You know, I was a middle guy, but
Uh-huh.
there was 4 years between me and the next one.
Uh-huh.
With the first 3, there was only 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So I had 4 years to get spoiled.
Yeah. That's...
She'd take me to her ladies' aid society and have me sing. Embarrassing.
Cute.
Yeah.
Cute. Little church songs or what kind of?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Jesus loves me. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay. Anything we've missed? You think anything we
I didn't know I
didn't?
had that much in my life.
Okay. Well, that's great, Ray. Well, thanks for speaking with me today.
Oh, you're welcome.